It's week 3, and now we've got our values video coming out for the DK main slate. We're going to be using my data-driven approach in this video to help identify my top 6 salary-saving plays for the football slate. So these are going to be players that not only have a solid floor, but also a relatively high ceiling. So you can go ahead and deploy them in cash contests, GPPs. It'll get it done either way. On top of this short picks video, I also have a full week 3 breakdown on the channel already. So if you're looking for a more complete breakdown, position by position, my favorite plays, go ahead and check that out. Link will be in the description. I also have Ryder Cup content out for any of you golf fans, as well as a UFC 266 preview. So all kinds of content out on the channel. So make sure to subscribe for that. But without further ado, let's hop into the top 6 value picks for this week 3 slate. Hopping right into the value picks. At number 6, we have Sony Michel at $4,900. I really like that price tag, especially because he's going to be the featured back against this weak Tampa Bay defense. So as of right now, I have him projected for 15.8 points, and that's even considering that Darrell Henderson is going to play just with a little bit of a pitch count. I do expect Darrell Henderson to potentially be out. I mean, he's highly questionable at this point, dealing with a hamstring injury, and Sony Michel is definitely an adequate replacement, somebody who the Rams invested draft capital into acquiring, somebody they obviously want to incorporate into this offense. They wouldn't have put draft capital into him if that wasn't the case. So Sony Michel at $4,900, I think he's a really good value on the slate, especially considering that this is one of the highest over-under totals on the entire slate. Also going to be a featured back in that $4,000 range. So pretty much a slam dunk pick right there. Gets even more attractive if Henderson is ruled out completely. At number 5, though, we have Pat Friermuth of the Pittsburgh Steelers, going to be only $3,300 at that tight end slot. And with the injury to Deontay Johnson, I do not expect him to suit up this weekend. If you guys didn't see it, you may not have, because you might have already turned off the game. He got injured on the last play of the game. It was in garbage time, a screen to the outside, ended up twisting up his knee and went down in a great deal of pain. So typically when you have a star player like this that goes down with a knee injury, the team's going to be a little bit more cautious, especially if your team like the Steelers that has plenty of replacements behind him. I mean, I expect James Washington to get the start as a result, but I do expect Pat Friermuth and people like Juju Smith-Schuster to pick up a majority of the targets left in his void. I mean, he's one of the most targeted players in the NFL, or averages just over 11.5 targets per game, and he's not really running a lot of deep routes. It's typically short intermediate routes, potentially even screens. So that's why I think guys like Juju Smith-Schuster and Pat Friermuth are going to benefit the most from his absence. At number 4, we have Mike Davis of the Falcons. At number 3, we also have Matt Ryan of the Falcons. So I'm going to go ahead and lump those two together. Mike Davis is $5,100, and with Matt Ryan, you get him for just $5,400, which is a very good price for a quarterback, especially against a weak defense like the New York Giants. I think a lot of people are looking at them like a top 15 defense this year, and to be quite honest with you, I'm just not seeing it. I mean, they just have holes all over. Defensive line's not great. Linebackers aren't great, nothing to write home about. And they do have Bradbury at cornerback, which is definitely somebody who I think is underrated, going to be a good corner for some time, but that's about it, right? Landon Collins hasn't looked very good of late. So I don't think that he's as impressive as he has been in the past. So that offense, I do expect to be a little bit underrated this week. And they all, most importantly, come in with great prices. I mean, $5,400 for Matt Ryan makes him an easy way to start a Falcon stack. I mean, Mike Davis is going to get plenty of work out of the backfield, so you can still stack him up with somebody like Matt Ryan. And the reason why we have Mike Davis at just $5,100 is he hasn't had the best start to the season. He's had a few touchdowns vultured by Cordarrelle Patterson, so they've made the numbers look a little bit more skewed than they actually are in reality. We've also seen Cordarrelle Patterson get a lot of garbage time run. So when the Falcons have been behind by 20, 30 points, they haven't been relying on Mike Davis, because why would you, right? You don't need to put your feature back out there when it's garbage time. And Cordarrelle Patterson looked really good in garbage time. So I think there's a little bit of a false narrative out there. I expect this game to be extremely competitive, right? You have the Falcons as slight underdogs to the New York Giants, and I think the line should be the other way. So I expect this to be a very good spot to buy low on this Falcons offense. At number 2, we have Anthony Schwartz of the Cleveland Browns, going to be potentially the number 1 wide receiver for this team this week at $3,200 playing against the Bears. I have him projected for just 12 points right now, and that's considering that Odell Beckham Jr. plays. If Odell doesn't play and Schwartz is thrusted into the number 1 wide receiver role, that projection is going to go from about 12 to about 14 or even 15 points. We'll have to see with the target shares and whatnot. You could also see for Shark Higgins get the start. You're also going to have Donovan Peoples-Jones probably at the number 2, so not any big names there at wide receiver, but anytime you get target share, anytime you get a start in a relatively productive offense, and I would definitely say Cleveland is looking a lot better on the offensive side of the ball this year. O-line is just a stout, even more experienced. I mean, Baker Mayfield is just looking better and better every year. I think it's very sneaky. He's not making jumps and bounds like some of the other guys in the league are, but consistently gets better. So somebody like Anthony Schwartz, who's going to be the number 1 in that offense, would clearly get a huge boost if Odell ends up being rolled out. So keep an eye on that. Even if he's not out, you can see he's still my number 2 value play of the week. If he was out, though, he would instantly become the number 1 value play of the slate. At number 1, though, we do have Clyde Edwards-Helaire at $4,800, so even cheaper than Mike Davis, and he's in that absolute firework of a matchup between the Chargers and the Chiefs this week. I expect to be over 60 points scored in that game, so I am projected for 16.9 points right now, and I really don't understand the price. I mean, he's had a bad start to the season. The Chiefs haven't relied on running the ball quite as much as usual, and he's had a touchdown or 2 vultured, 1 by Patrick Mahomes, 2 by the backup running back there as well, McKinnon. So I'm not huge on Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I mean, he's not somebody who is going to get 25 rushes in a game. He's not going to get targeted 10 times or anything like that. But he's playing against this Los Angeles Chargers team that allows a shit ton of yardage. I mean, this is going to be a shootout. Again, I expect over 60 points, potentially even 70 points scored in this game. And to this point, he's gone vultured, right? So just like Mike Davis, the reason why he's priced down is the numbers don't look great. But if you really look into the numbers, you try to take apart the narrative, it's really just he's been a little bit unlucky. That's really what it comes down to. So somebody like Clyde Edwards-Helaire at $4,800, definitely going to be a piece I use at running back to save a little bit of salary. That's all I've got for the value picks for this week, guys. Thank you guys for watching. Go ahead and let me know down in the comments who you think the best value play on the slate is. Would love to hear about it. Let's get some debate going. And lastly, I'll mention again, I do have a live stream going on this Sunday at 11:30 a.m. What we're going to do there is go over my entire player pool. We'll go over some ownership projections, some game theory stuff. Of course, any live Q&A that you guys have. It could be for season-long league. It could be for DFS, whatever the format. I'll be in there to answer your guys' questions from 11:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. Eastern time. So make sure to stop by for that. And until then, good luck with any of your DFS lineups. I know there's some MOB going on this week as the season cracks down. So see you guys then, and peace.